Victoria from Biblio Lifestyle, and you're listening to the Reader's Couch podcast, the show that will help you bridge the gap between living a full and busy life to one where you're reading, learning new things, and having fun. In today's episode, I will be talking all about the joy of holiday reading and share 6 holiday-themed books that are perfect for your festive reading list. So whether you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or you just love this time of year, there's no shortage of festive books to help you get in the mood. So stay tuned. Hi readers, welcome again to the Reader's Couch. I'm your host, Victoria Wood, and in today's episode, I'll be talking all about the joy of holiday reading, and I'll share 6 holiday-themed books that are perfect for your festive reading list. So, as the weather gets cooler and the days get shorter, I feel there's nothing better than cozying up with a good book and immersing yourself in a story that surrounds holiday spirit. So whether you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or you don't celebrate at all, but you love this time of year, there's no shortage of festive books to help you get in the mood. But first, I want to talk about why holiday reading is so important. I just feel the holiday seasons are a great time for reading. I know for us avid readers, we're always trying to squeeze some extra books in, but even for folks who really struggle to find the time to read, I think the holidays is the perfect time for them to crack open a book too. Plus, whether you're spending time with family, friends, or loved ones, or you're just going at it solo, which, by the way, I endorse a solo holiday as well, if that's the best thing for you. It's also a time when we relax, we reflect, and I think it's a perfect time to slow down and just indulge in some reading and hopefully some festive reading as well. Because I think holiday books can help us to escape the stress of just everyday life and just all the holiday happenings. And it can just transport us to a magical world that's filled with love, laughter, and holiday cheer. Plus, I think holiday reading can help us to connect with our cultural or religious traditions and celebrate whatever you believe. And if you don't believe in anything, that's fine too. I think it's a great way for us to learn about different holiday customs, and it affords us the opportunity to just gain a deeper understanding of the significance behind them and the season for different people. But what makes a good holiday read? Now, I think a good holiday read captures the essence of the season. It should give you that feeling of warmth, joy, and nostalgia. It helps when the setting is festive, so you have those descriptions of twinkling lights or snow-covered landscapes or maybe a cozy fireplace or something. I think characters should be relatable and endearing, kind of making us feel like we're part of their holiday celebrations that we're reading about. But I also think holiday books can explore those deeper themes, such as forgiveness, gratitude, and the true meaning of giving and the true meaning behind the reason for the season. So they can remind us to kind of slow down and appreciate those little things in life, which I think are especially important during the busy holiday season. So again, I think the holidays is just a perfect time for reading. It's a great time for books and especially festive reading. So I can't wait to share with you 6 recommended reads of mine that are perfect for the holiday season. Okay, so the 6 books on my list are a combination of classic reads, but also new fiction as well. And I even have some children's books in there because I have to say, I think the children books nowadays, they're really winning when it comes to festive reads. But the first book I'm going to share with you today on the list is a childhood favourite of mine. And this is a book my family read letters from when I was very little, before I could read, but I remember them. And when I was old enough to read on my own and read these letters, I was always looking to read them on my own. They were just incredibly comforting. I loved looking at the pictures of the original letters, even now as an adult. And of course, the typed text just for the words that you can't read yourself because, the handwriting is a bit scraggly at some points. But I think you know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, it's Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, Letters from Father Christmas is a collection of letters and illustrations that Tolkien created for his children that told enchanting tales about the North Pole. We get stories about reindeer mishaps, for example, the adventures of this polar bear who's incredibly accident prone. We also hear about mischievous goblins, and I think, there's a little war going on between them as well. And just stories from Father Christmas himself. Now, I think this collection of letters will charm readers of all ages. So again, for your littlest readers, reading them letters from Father Christmas, I think it would be incredibly helpful and fun. I think it's a great keepsake. And I think even for adults, it's just a good thing to revisit. It really gives you those warm and fuzzy feelings. And for me, more than anything, I just can't help but just think of how thoughtful and intentional Tolkien was with his children to just send letter and letter year after year, season after season, from Father Christmas. So I would pick up the book. I have 3 editions of these. The one I have actually with me right now is the centenary edition, and I will just crack this open and read a random letter. So I'm going to do that just now. I'm going to find a random letter, okay? And the book opened to 1932. So it's addressed Cliff House, North Pole, November 30th, 1932. My dear children, thank you for your nice letters. I've not forgotten you. I'm very late this year and very worried. A very funny thing has happened. The polar bear has disappeared, and I don't know where he is. I have not seen him since the beginning of this month, and I'm getting anxious. Tomorrow, December, the Christmas month, begins, and I don't know what I shall do without him. And there's this little illustration below of what would be Santa Claus in all red from behind, looking out into the vastness, I think, looking for the polar bear. And then there is the original letter. So I just read from the typescript, and the original letter, is a bit scraggly. It's written in red with, green highlights and then also black. And it's just beautiful. It's incredibly beautiful. So again, I think this is just a really great keepsake book. It's a book that I think, if you gift it to your child and reading to them from it, they'll start reading it themselves. And then they'll hold on to it into adulthood and hopefully pass on the tradition. I'm just saying, this is a book I absolutely loved. There was also a republished edition this year that's a bit smaller, because the centenary edition I have, it's not a chunky book, but it's larger than normal. It's about twice the size, I would say, of a hardback. But then they had a proper hardback edition that's easier to carry around, and it has the same illustrations and pictures in there, and it has a beautiful bookmark, and it's beautiful. So the first book on my list, childhood favorite of mine. I still read letters to my family and just to myself year after year, and that's Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien. Okay, book 2 on my list is a new release, and it's quite the festive read. And I just love when the book jacket screams holiday and festive read. It's red, it's green, it has a snow-covered estate in the background, just very beautiful, very bright. And this one is The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. Now, you might be familiar with Swanson because he writes quite a bit of thrillers. However, this one is a novella. It's much shorter, which again makes it, I think, a great Christmas read. So it's something that's short, you can get a quick win, but it's also seasonally themed and quite festive. Now, this is a very atmospheric kind of read. It's an atmospheric mystery. So if you love books that have that really evoke setting, I think this one is quite the winner. Now, in the book, we meet Ashley, an American art student in London, who's invited by Emma, a fellow student, to spend the holidays at her family's country home, which is located in this very quaint, charming English village. Now, when she arrives, it's not what she's expecting. The family's quite odd. There's a killer on the loose. Plus, Emma's brother, who Ashley is kind of crushing on, is the prime suspect in a recent murder case involving a girl who looks eerily like Ashley herself. Now, as the book goes on, we see secrets start to unravel and the village's grim history comes to light. So, again, very atmospheric. I think it mashes up the holiday setting with a mystery, but also that gothic, eerie, just atmospheric vibe really well. I really enjoyed this book. And yeah, that's the new release I'm recommending, The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. Okay, book 3 on the list is my children's book. It's one of 2 children's books on the list, and I have to say, they are quite winning when it comes to diversity, I think, during the holiday season. So the book I'm recommending is The Night Before Kwanzaa by Natasha Wing and Christy Jewell, illustrated by Amy Wummer. Now, in this book, it's the night before Kwanzaa, and a little boy is super excited to be spending this time with his family. Every evening, they light a candle, they learn about their history, and more. So it's a great way for you to celebrate Kwanzaa, but also learn more about the holiday. And what I really love, it's that it's told in that classic story vibe that kind of reminds you of the night before Christmas, because it's told in that style. So, okay, let me just read a page or two to you so you can have an idea. So it starts, "'Twas the night before Kwanzaa, a Black American holiday. This year it's extra special 'cause Granny's come to stay. We'll celebrate Black culture of all people far and near. It goes from the day after Christmas through the first of the year." Now, I'm not going to read anymore, but you kind of get the gist. And what I love is the illustration with the little boy who has, like celebrate, the whole candle thing set up. And then it's written December 26th to January 1st. So it's educating you about Kwanzaa at the same time, but you're also watching a family prepare. Okay, I have to read this bit. "We put nuts and pears in baskets to represent harvest fruits, and here's a cup of unity plus books about our roots." I'm telling you, it's beautiful. It's really well illustrated. And like I said, I personally feel the children's books, they're really winning at celebrating different holidays, cultures, and traditions during the holiday season. So I highly recommend The Night Before Kwanzaa by Natasha Wing, Kirsty Jewell, and it's illustrated by Amy Wummer. It's a great book that you can read to your little ones. You can read by yourself to learn a bit more about Kwanzaa. Okay, book 4 on my list is 3 Holidays and a Wedding by Uzma Jalaluddin and Marissa Stapley. Now, this is a really fun rom-com kind of read. It's that feel-good read that just suspends reality for a moment, and you're allowed to escape within the pages of this book and escape away to this picturesque Canadian village. So, okay, let me tell you what the book is about. It's, again, a romantic comedy, and it's set over the holiday season. But what makes this one really special is that this holiday, Christmas, Hanukkah, and Ramadan are all happening at the same time. I mean, who would have thought, right? But anyways, the 3 holidays are happening at the same time, so that's quite an event. But we see a group of travelers who end up stranded in this small, kind of quaint, picturesque Canadian town when their flight gets diverted by a winter storm. Now, that's believable because, winter storms happen quite a bit, and especially up there in Canada. So yes, for sure. So they get diverted and they're in this quaint, cute, picturesque town. Now, we're really following 2 women in this story. We see one of the women, Miriam, have an opportunity for a second chance romance when she realizes that her ex, was also on the flight. So, of course, he's stranded with her in this quaint, picturesque village. But we're also following another woman, Anna, who is torn between her boyfriend and a local guy that she's really connected with. So in my opinion, you're getting two romances in one book, so it's like a 2-for-1 situation happening here. And I really enjoyed this book because, okay, I know for some folks it might not work for them, but I just want to say, if you're into Hallmark movies and just, that Hallmarky kind of vibe, that's this kind of book, So it's a very Hallmark movie-esque kind of novel. But what I also loved, it's that it's a great multi-faith romantic comedy. Because again, remember, Christmas, Hanukkah, and Ramadan, all 3 religious holidays are happening at the same time. And I think the authors, because it's an author duo, they did a really great job at balancing these holidays. And I have to tell you, with everything that's happening in the world right now, this was a perfectly timed feel-good escape, because I think for me, it was just a great reminder that we are so much more alike than we are different. We might practice different things, we might believe, or faiths believe in different things, but ultimately, we're all human, and it's just all tied together in a beautiful love story. So if you're looking for a Hallmark movie-esque kind of novel with diversity, with the multi-faith element to it, then I highly recommend 3 Holidays and a Wedding by Uzma Jalaluddin and Marissa Stapley. Okay, book number 5 is another classic, and I have to tell you, when I think of the holidays, I think of this author. I can't help but think about this author, and that is Dickens. So I don't think this book needs an introduction, but the book I'm recommending you read this holiday season is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Now, this story in itself is a really short story, so again, this can give you another quick win this holiday season. Now, I know I said this book needs no introduction, but I'm going to give a brief summary anyway. And A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, I feel, is just a timeless tale of 2 things that is central to the holidays, and that is transformation and redemption. And we get both of those things in this book. So A Christmas Carol tells the story of Ebenezer Scrooge, a miserly old man who despises Christmas and all forms of joy. And on Christmas Eve, Scrooge is visited by the ghost of his former business partner, Jacob, and the spirit of Christmas past, present, and Christmas yet to come. Now, these supernatural encounters really force Scrooge to confront the impact of his selfish actions and the bleak future that awaits him if he doesn't change his ways. And of course, it's a feel-good story in the end. In a dramatic turnaround, we see Scrooge awaken on Christmas morning with a renewed spirit, and he's embracing kindness and generosity and just the true essence of Christmas. So again, it has those 2 elements, transformation and redemption. So if you're looking for that story, if you actually haven't read the story, because I know there are just numerous iterations on film, however, I think the book is worth reading. It truly is. And one of my favorite editions is the Christmas Classics, the Penguin Christmas Classics. I have that edition. It's just incredibly beautiful. I also love that it has quick facts about the book and the story in the front. For example, story A Christmas Carol was first published on December 19th, 1843, and it was an instant classic. It really helped to revive interest in the Victorian Christmas tradition, such as the caroling, the holiday cards, and it just really spurred this wave of charitable giving. And I really think that's what the holidays truly is about. It really is about giving. But yeah, I highly recommend you pick up A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Okay, so the 6th book on my list is a children's book, and like I've been sharing with you today, I think children's books are really winning when it comes to sharing the diversity in different holidays, traditions, and cultures. And the book I'm super excited to share with you today is Countdown for Noche Buena A Celebration of Christmas Eve. And this book is by Adriana Hernandez Bergstrom. Now, I was first introduced to Noche Buena when I spent 2 going on 3 year stint working in the Caribbean. There are lots of Cuban nurses. They're incredibly skilled. They're just really amazing at what they do. But when the holidays came round, we would hear about Noche Buena. So that was my first introduction. Then moving to the States full time and living in Florida, there is a large Latin population. So of course, Noche Buena came up again. So Noche Buena is a Latin Christmas Eve tradition. And this book, Countdown for Noche Buena, I think is a perfect way to celebrate this tradition because it has a joyful story that counts up to 12 and back down again while incorporating holiday elements like dancers, singers, and special foods that are central to the tradition. Now, what I loved about this book is that it alternates between English and Spanish, and it's filled with just these beautiful, charming illustrations. So you and your littlest reader can really get immersed in the tradition, and you can count all the way to when it's time for Christmas presents to be opened. Now, if you're not Latin and you don't celebrate this tradition, it's a great way to learn about it. And I just think it's a fun children's book. I really, really do. And it's a great way to be introduced to the culture. So I'm going to read just a little from it. Again, it starts from 1, counting up to 12, and then 12 back down to 1. But I'm going to start at the front of the book, and there's this beautiful illustration of this family of 5. Love it. But it says, Una familia brimming with joy, which again, we have the beautiful family, all smiles. 2, the second one, dos helpful tios preparing the roast. And you see them with their roast pig, which I absolutely loved. And then it goes on, tres fancy mesas fully decked out. And you can see it decked out. And it just keeps going. I don't want to, read the whole book to you, but I'm just saying it's really, really, really good. I highly recommend it. I think it's a great children's book. Again, I think where diversity is concerned, the children's books are winning. But if you have a Latin family in your life and this family has little ones, I think it's a great read. So it's a great gift, but also it's a great book that you can read with your little ones as well, even though you don't celebrate the tradition, but it's just a way for them to learn about it as well. So I highly recommend Countdown for Noche Buena by Adriana Hernandez Bergstrom. So readers, there you have it, my 6 recommended holiday reads. Just a quick recap. The books I recommended are Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien, The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson, The Night Before Kwanzaa by Natasha Wing and Kirsty Jewell, illustrated by Amy Wummer, 3 Holidays and a Wedding by Uzma Jalaluddin and Marissa Stapley, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and Countdown for Noche Buena by Adriana Hernandez Bergstrom. Readers, I truly believe the holiday season is the perfect time to indulge in reading, especially some festive reading. So whether you prefer classic tales or more contemporary stories, I think there are plenty of books out there to get you in the holiday spirit. And these 6 recommendations are just a few of the many books that are perfect for cozying up on a cold winter's night. So I hope you'll grab a blanket, a cup of cocoa, and just get ready to immerse yourself in some holiday magic. Listeners, there's only one thing I would love more than anything from you this holiday season, and that's for you to leave the podcast a 5-star rating and review. And if you want to do something extra, write me a review if you love the show and share this episode or any of your favorite episodes with your bookish friends and families and neighbors and co-workers and just anyone you're trying to get into books and reading as well. Bring them into the community. I would absolutely love it, and I would be forever grateful to you for doing so. Alrighty, readers, that's it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. And I'm looking forward to chatting with you again soon. Bye for now. Thank Thank you so much for listening to the Reader's Couch podcast. Please subscribe to the show, share it with a friend, and take a few seconds to leave a rating and review. Until next time, stay lounging, stay reading, and whenever you're in doubt, go straight to your local bookstore or library. Thanks again for listening, and happy reading.